So let's break down Lovesac's latest earnings call. The CEO, Shawn Nelson, he's not just rattling off numbers, he's really painting a picture of how the company is navigating a pretty tough market, and more importantly, how they're building for the long haul. Let's get into it. Okay, right off the bat, this slide tells you the entire story in just two numbers. You've got the whole home furnishings category shrinking by about 4%. And then you have Lovesac actually growing its sales by 2.5%. So this isn't some case where a rising tide is lifting all boats. No, this is Lovesac paddling hard against the current and still managing to move forward. So the big question is, how are they pulling this off? Well, we're going to walk through 5 key parts of the CEO's vision. First, we'll look at how they're winning right now. Then we'll get into their oak tree strategy for growth. After that, we'll check out the first new branch of that tree, a product called Snug. Fourth, we'll talk about their shift to being more than just a product company. And finally, we'll land on their huge goal for 2030. All right, let's start with what's happening today. In a market where people are kind of hesitant about big purchases, Lovesac is out there actively taking ground from its competitors. I mean, this chart just spells it out, doesn't it? That positive 2.5% isn't just a random number. It represents growth that's being driven entirely by what they're doing, things like new products and smart marketing, not because the economy is giving them any help. And here's the really crucial part: financial discipline. The CEO made it super clear that while other companies might be pulling back, Lovesac's strong financial position means they can keep investing heavily in innovation. They're playing the long game, planting seeds for future growth even when the market's in a downturn. And that long game, it actually has a name. The CEO uses this really powerful metaphor to explain their whole strategy for building the brand. He calls it the Lovesac oak tree. And this quote from him really gets to the heart of it. This isn't about quick, flimsy growth. It's about building something with a solid foundation, something that can withstand storms and last for generations. A brand that is, in his own words, wide, tall, strong, and durable. So let's break this oak tree down. Think of it like this. The trunk, that's the core Lovesac brand itself. The main branches that we all know today are their big products, Sactionals and Sacs. But they've just added a major new branch, a whole new platform called Snug. And the big plan is to keep growing more branches to eventually fill entire new rooms in your home. Okay, let's zoom in on that first new branch, Snug. This is a big deal because it's not just another product. It's the first real, tangible piece of that whole oak tree strategy coming to life. Now, you might have heard of this at first as the EverCouch, but they very strategically rebranded it to Snug by Lovesac to fit in with where the brand is heading. And look, this wasn't just some random name swap. It was a really smart move to reposition it for their bigger brand vision. So what exactly is Snug? Well, it's got all that classic Lovesac DNA, right? It's washable, it's upgradable, it's easy to ship and move around. But here's the kicker. It comes in a smaller, more accessible package that's designed to fit into literally any space. And this isn't some small test run, it's already rolling out to all of their stores. This launch of Snug, it's a signal. It's part of something way bigger. Lovesac is basically telling the world that they're evolving from just a company that sells products into a true, multifaceted home brand. And a huge part of this evolution is a concept the CEO called a product hierarchy. So, what on earth does that actually mean? Well, it's basically a strategy to organize their products so they can reach different kinds of customers and sell through new channels, not just their own showrooms. So think of having products designed specifically to be sold online versus stuff that really needs an in-person demo. And that's the key question, right? A new strategy is great, but what does it actually do for the business? What new doors does this actually open up? Well, it unlocks a ton. This whole approach paves the way for major expansion into new channels. With products like Snug that are just easier to understand and buy online, they don't have to rely so much on physical showrooms. And that means they can go after market share way more aggressively and in new places. And make no mistake, their ambition is huge. The CEO pointed out that they were recently ranked the 19th largest home furnishings retailer, and he made it really plain. That is not where they plan to stay. This strategy is all about climbing that list. And all of this, the oak tree, Snug, the new strategy, it all ties back to a single, concrete, long-term goal that's basically their North Star. It's guiding every single one of these decisions. And here's the number, the big one. The goal is to be in 3 million households by the year 2030. That's a bold, specific, and really powerful number that just perfectly captures their vision for leading the market. And really, what this all comes down to is this. That goal forces them to think beyond today's market conditions. It's all about building a brand that lasts and creating these really deep customer relationships. The ultimate aim is to become what the CEO calls the most loved home brand in America. So that leaves us with the big question, doesn't it? Lovesac is clearly making these smart, long-term plays. They're planting the seeds for that giant oak tree. They're committed to growing no matter what. But the ultimate success of that tree is also going to depend on the economy. They're doing all the hard work, but will the market eventually provide the sun needed for that massive growth? I guess that's the question that will define their journey ahead.